Welcome back to Scams Auto. I'm about to be doing an oil change, and if this helps you out, feel free to like, subscribe, leave me a comment. I'll respond back, and let's get started here. We're doing it on a 2015 ProMaster City. First thing you want to do is pop your hood, which your hood latch should be able to get unlocked by somewhere in this region. In my case, it's right here. It always has a symbol under there. Sometimes they're up here. Sometimes they're like a push button, depending on what kind of car you got. That's opened. Next, we're gonna come over here, pop the hood. Okay. Find your hood latch. And after that, I'm trying to do this one hand, people. That'll hold your hood up. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to open up the oil cap by twisting it and pulling it out. Just like that. Next, we're going to locate the jack point on your vehicle. They're usually right here on the side. Sometimes they even have like little indicators that point down where to put it at. So I'm going to go ahead and a call came in. I'm going to go ahead and line mine up now. And again, I'm using a actual lift. You're going to probably have a jack in your situation, but if you have a lift, that's great too. So I'm going to go ahead and line mine up. We're going to go nice and evenly each four corners. All right, now that I got the car safely up in the air, in your case, it's going to be safely off the ground if you have a jack. We're going to locate where the oil pan is. So there's your engine, there's your oil pan, and there is your oil pan drain plug for your oil. You also want to locate your filter, which in this case, it's directly right in front of that. So it's pretty easy to get to that. There it is. And I'm going to get the right size socket on there, which in my case, I'm going to be using a 1/2 inch socket on there. Some people say you can use a 13 as well, but let me show you the difference between a 13 and a 1/2 inch. All right, so we're going to start with your 1/2 inch socket. Put him right under there. He is nice and secure on there. Not much play. Now, whenever you put this 13 millimeter on there, check this out. That's a lot of wiggle space there. So I'm gonna go back with the 1/2 inch. And the reason why you want it to fit nice and snug on there so nothing gets stripped. Last thing you want to do is strip that bolt, and then you gotta worry about either replacing that bolt or, yeah, it'll just be pointless to replace that bolt when you don't necessarily have to. So got the right socket on here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to twist it to the left or counterclockwise to loosen it up. So in my case, I have it set where if I push it, it's going to loosen it. Let's see if I can do this with no hands. Check it out right here. And then we're going to go up. Put them on right now. Let's break that guy loose. There we go. Only just cracked him loose now. What I always like to do is now put my catch can or bucket under there to catch the oil. And, oops. And I do things a little differently, that's all. And I like to unscrew this by hand. While I'm unscrewing it, I like to push it in while I'm unscrewing it, so at the last second I can actually catch it before it all. I'll show you. I'm pushing it against the pan while I'm doing this, and you can see it's at the end of its thread. So when I pull this out, it's all gonna go right to the bucket, and I got the bolt right here in my hand. Nice. Look how nice and clean that oil looks. And we actually keep up with getting these oil changes done on these vans. Like I told you in my previous videos, when I'm working on these things get driven a lot. So we get these oil changes done faithfully. Actually, it didn't even come up on the dashboard to say oil change due just yet, but I know it's about to be that time. It's only almost been 3 months, so it's about that time. These things get a lot of mileage out of them in a week. Now that he's basically done pouring out, it's just a couple of droplets, not even like a full solid stream. I'm going to put this oil bolt, after I cleaned it up, the oil plug back in, line it up, just like that. So then, you know, I always go back to the left first. You can finally feel it like click, click, like back into place, and then you can hand screw it back on there to tighten it in. That way you don't strip anything. And then I don't put it all the way in just yet. What I could do here is, I'm gonna pause it for a second. Get a little brake cleaner. I'm gonna spray it around there. Get all that extra oil off of there. Get a nice clean shop towel, wipe just around it. And tighten it up by hand. That's nice and tightened. Here. There you go. And then we're going to do the oil filter next. I'm just going to lock that in right now with the 1/2-inch socket. So let me get the socket back onto there and tighten it now. All right, got the socket wrench, put it onto there. Now that we're twisting it, there's like no pressure on there. Now that I know it's like snug tight, now I'm gonna give it like one extra little 1/4 of a turn there to make sure he's snug into there, so he's not leaking. Perfect. Some people like to over crank that thing and you can't even get that thing back out for the next person. Some people like to under tighten that thing where you see oil dribbling out of it. So next we're gonna work onto the filter. Filter's right here. And you know, like I told you guys earlier, righty tighty, lefty loosey, or counterclockwise to the left. So I'm gonna be twisting this guy that way. So I'm gonna twist him this way to loosen him. And you should be able to do it by hand. Now, what the filters like to get, it actually has the little marking on it. You can actually fit a socket on it there too. So that's pretty cool. Also, you can use a oil filter wrench. They got different kinds out there. I keep one handy, or a couple other ones down there. Check this out. I want to go do it, and with one hand, and it actually started to go. You can see the print on there. I did not use any socket or any tool or anything. I did it perfectly just by hand, by twisting it. I'm going to keep on unscrewing it. You're going to see some oil. Some people like to poke holes, drain all the oil out first. Yeah, that's cute, but let's do it the manly way. How about that? What happened to being men out here? I like to use this filter. It's a little expensiver. A little more pricier. If you read this box here, 20,000 mile protection, 2 times stronger, easy removal. That's cool, right? You can actually put a socket on there to remove it if someone did not hand tighten it on there for you to hand tighten it back off of there. But in this case, I'm the one that hand tightens it on, and I'm the one that hand tightens it off. I'm going to put a little bit of oil around this little rubber here. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm not going to soak it or anything. Some people like to fill up this thing when you put it back in. I'm not one of them people, so yeah. The people that know what they're doing and watching this to criticize, not necessary. And what I mean by oil, and I just stuck my finger into the bucket of the old oil and just put a nice little whoop right around there. That's it. Bing. All right, for the most part, it's just about done dribbling out. I'm going to wipe it, and I'm going to screw on the new filter. I'm going to twist it towards the right, righty-tighty, or clockwise. Do so now. It is important to make sure your hand twist this back on enough, because if it's not on tight enough, it's going to leak out of there. And you're going to think that it's your oil pan gasket that's leaking, or you're going to think it's your valve cover gasket that's leaking. And in all reality, it could just be your oil filter not on tight enough. I had cars coming here in the past where they were wondering how all their oil's peeing out all over the place everywhere they go. And whenever they still want to get the oil change done anyway, because like, why wouldn't you? Whenever I go to put it up and take out the oil filter, it's already almost off by itself. So make sure that's nice and tight as you can make it by hand. That's good enough. And we're gonna move our way back up to the top. All right, so now that we're back on the top of the car, we got our funnel in there to dump in our new oil. Based off of whatever kind of car you're doing, it's always best to look up first. You know, Google always got the answers. Or if you trust the auto parts store guy, whenever you're buying your oil, to see what size motor you have and how much oil it takes after doing the oil change and filter change. Make sure you add in the filter change as well, because you just say oil change, it doesn't always say with filter, and they might skimp you out, and then you might overfill. Either way, yeah. So if you look it up with the oil change with filter, it'll tell you how much. I believe this one, the 2.4, this one takes about 5.2 quarts, if I'm not mistaken. So I got the 5 right here, and I gotta do another oil change on the exact same van tomorrow again. That's why I cut this extra one over here. I did one already last week, so I can top off about like a little bit over, a little extra then. So I'm gonna go with 5.2 quarts. Pull out this dipstick here. Take a look at the mark. If you ever pull this out, you can see where it's supposed to be at. But in this case, and you're supposed to wipe it and all that. But in this case, it's gonna be a little bit more over the maximum. Maximum is right where that line is, above all those X's. That'll be where you want your oil level at. But after I fill it right now, it's going to be a little bit more up, because remember, that oil filter that we changed has to get filled up as well. Once that gets filled up, this oil is going to drop down on the stick a little bit. Another thing I wanted to add was Valvoline Restore and Protect Premium Full Synthetic 0W20. That's the kind that we need. You can even see it on the oil cap. It'll tell you as well on your car. We're big on using Restore and Protect around here, because if you actually look it up and read into it, it says it actually does make a difference, believe it or not. Everybody's like, oil is oil. I agree with you guys, but in this situation, we spend the extra couple bucks here on doing oil changes. It actually lasts us a little bit longer, and it's made to restore and protect your motor. So why not give it a whirl? So far, it's restoring and protecting the motor. Let's dump that fresh oil inside of this motor. I believe this particular ProMaster City van has, if I'm not mistaken, this one has like 209,000 miles on it. I believe so. Yeah. And another cool tip, word of advice to get rid of your old oil, you can actually dump that right inside of your jug whenever you're done using it, and you can return this back to your auto store, and they will recycle it for you as long as it's not mixed. Don't mix the oil with power steering fluid and antifreeze and all that kind of stuff, and they find out, they probably don't want you to come back. But again, just a cool tip you can keep in mind. You can turn back, you can recycle this back to them. Alright, so I finished up putting back on that cap whenever you're done. Once you're done adding in your oil, I'm going to show you the mark that I have here for the oil. Where did I put that? There it is. So, I'm going to pull out the dipstick. Take a look here with you guys. It's a little bit up to like right about here. Right about where my finger is pointing at. Right in this area. So once you turn it on, it's going to suck that little bit off of the stick into that oil filter. And it's going to put you right down where you need to be. Right here on this X mark line right there. That's where you want to keep it at. If it gets down to here, that's about time to add about a half a quart. So, something to keep in mind when you guys do add in your oil. You can turn it on, turn it right back off, and check it out or whatever. But I know that's how you want to add it in this particular make. Again, that's how you do an oil change and filter change. It's pretty much the same almost on every car, whether you got a Beamer, Benz, or Bentley, whatever. Just probably requires more oil, or your filter might be up here on the top. And your filter's not always in the exact same place on every car. If it is on the bottom, it could be on the side, it could be in the back, it could be a little bit higher up, it could be on the side. You got to dig in there and reach. But in this situation, a 2015 to 2022 Ram ProMaster City or Dodge ProMaster City. That's how you do the oil change and the filter change. Thank you for viewing. If this helped you out at all, like and subscribe if you like. Scams Auto.